Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Samurai 50, where we are excited to bring you a couple of new guests. And this is going to be a different one than we've had in quite some time. So I'm excited about this. So, the purpose of Samurai 50 series is to introduce our community to outstanding individuals over the next, well, it started 50 weeks ago, and that's why it's 50. So, we're well into 50 weeks, and we're just going to keep going, week after week after week. And we are normally live from our Style Labs headquarters at noon every Friday. Today, you can see we're by video because our guests are in New York, so we can't see each other in person. So every week we are on Facebook, we recast on LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. So there's lots of great content for you to go there and listen to all these inspiring people and all these entrepreneurs that are creating and succeeding and pushing through and sharing, their failures and their successes with us. And so that's what the purpose of this platform is. And thank you so much for joining us. Today we're thrilled, and I'm going to introduce my husband. Oh, what's that noise? That sounds like a plane or something.
It's
Oh,
probably on
well,
my
it's
end. I
gone.
apologize.
So that's okay. Hey, you're in the big city. Those are big city noises, or maybe it was a pet. I don't know. So we're thrilled to have Alnoor Maherali. Did I say that right?
You got it.
Good. And Ehsan Ali join us on Samurai 50. And they are the co-owners and co-founders of Ven Mediation, a mediation and conflict resolution company that helps people reach agreements and resolve disagreements when they are unable to do so themselves. So welcome, gentlemen, to the series.
Great to be here, Leanne.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and we had a little bit of a delay yesterday, so hopefully that doesn't happen. It sounds much better today. And if there is a delay, we're just going to keep going. And we on the other end, they can often hear us better than we can hear ourselves. So I just wanted to point that out. There may be a little bit of a delay. So this is a fascinating business. This is something that you don't hear a lot of people going to as a solution to resolve conflict. So tell our viewers why you started Ven Mediation. What inspired you to start this?
I'm happy to take a first swing at it, and Alnoor will fix anything I say that's a little off. We started basically as the pandemic was starting to gain popular awareness. In April of 2020, Alnoor and I kind of were speaking, and we'd spent a lot of the previous year training in mediation and developing our skills. We had already become aware that together we were a particularly effective co-mediation pair. But as the pandemic was kicking up and more conflicts were becoming kind of pernicious and going underneath the radar, we knew we had to do something, and it's from that central kind of premise that Ven was born.
It's incredible to hear that you built this company really to solve an immediate need, and you pivoted very, very quickly. So with the intent to help people. I mean, what a beautiful thing to create. Alnoor, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, I'll just quickly mention that, we've come to realize that a lot of people are really uncomfortable with conflict. They teach you a lot of things in school, you learn a lot of things in life, but most of us don't learn how to handle conflict, how to handle disagreements. It makes most of us very uncomfortable, myself included. My own conflicts. I think I'm pretty good at managing other people's conflicts. So part of the birth of Ven Mediation was people have this discomfort. These things are very difficult for them. Can we help them manage this difficult part of their life? And it's been an inspiring journey so far.
Yeah, it's very true. We don't learn those very, very important basic skills. In fact, we start to often avoidance becomes a technique, right? Which we all know where that gets us. So when you first had the idea to create the business that you now have, there were so many unknowns in front of you. Starting a business, the pandemic, we didn't know then what we know now, and we still don't know. There's just so many unknowns. Did you have moments where you questioned your decision to start when you did? And how did you stay the course and keep going through such a tumultuous time?
Yeah, I'll start with this one. I mean, I think anytime you start anything new, it's going to be difficult. I think part of what drove us was just like we said, there was such a huge need out there, and we expected there to be a lot more conflict as a result of the pandemic. So that was certainly an inspiration that kind of helped us keep pushing through. And then we had each other, which was great. I think we've really built up a great partnership here. And I would say that both of us also benefit from very supportive partners who really pushed us and motivated us and kept us through those challenging times and helped remind us that this is our passion, this is what we're good at, and that we should keep pushing on. Ehsan, anything you want to add?
I just would like to redouble the fact that we have had a tremendous amount of support at home and from each other. Also because I don't want to get in trouble, but it's very true.
It's such an important factor, and not everybody has that. So it's great that you both have such supportive partners and families and helping you, because that can often be, you know, the decision why something doesn't go forward if you don't feel you have that. So, you know, thank goodness for your wives, your partners, and you know, allowing you to do what you're doing, because it's so needed and so very important. So what are some of the key factors that people don't understand about mediation, and what are the benefits?
I'd love to take a first crack at this one. The one thing that we kind of hear from people when they're thinking about mediation is, why would I involve a third party and kind of give away control over my dispute? For us, it's exactly the opposite. By involving a third party neutral and engaging in mediation, you actually have the maximum of control over what happens. Particularly when you involve a facilitative mediator like Venn Mediation, our job isn't to tell you what to do or to lay down any kind of judgment. It's really to support you and engage in productive negotiation to get you where you want to go.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'll just quickly add that, I mean, I think one thing people don't realize is that there's a lot of value that can be created in conflicts. A lot of times when we're stuck in something, it can feel like it's the other person's way or our way. And one of the beautiful things about mediation is we don't get stuck on what people want, but we try to focus on why they want it. And when you can look at the reasons why someone wants things, there can be a lot more alignment between the two people's arguments, and then that's where value can be created. And that's one of the most beautiful things we've seen in our line of work.
Isn't that the truth? And you just can't see through that when you're, you know, in a conflict without, and often it's just a space and a person that, you know, they just want to be heard, and even by a third party. So you said you don't offer, what was the word you used? Like, you don't give them a direction on what decision they should make, which is something I think people are not aware of when it comes to mediation, or your type of mediation.
Yeah, definitely. And I also want to just double back to one thing you said about being heard, because I also really feel that's one of the greatest values of mediation. One of the things that we've seen in a lot of our work is it's the first time that people are genuinely communicating with each other. You know, they've probably yelled at each other, they may have sworn at each other, sometimes they've called the cops on each other. But when you come to mediation, as Ehsan said, there's this neutral third party that almost acts as a translator. You know, we help get those messages across in the way that they were intended, and really focus on what a person is trying to say. So that's certainly a big part of it. But as you said, one of the reasons why we prefer not to give advice is that, you know, conflicts and situations are very specific to people. And, you know, two people can have lost a job, but it doesn't mean that they're feeling it or experiencing it the same way. We've come to learn that just because a solution may be obvious to us, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for them. Rather, we work with them, we help them brainstorm, we help them have a discussion with each other, and help them really come up with their own solutions, because that can be a very empowering thing. Ehsan, did I miss anything?
I think you said it very well, my friend. I think that, you know, one thing that can be a little odd for people when we tell them that is that, how can we possibly come to a solution if you don't tell us what to do? And in our view, the only way you can come to a lasting, durable, and functional solution is if you stay in the driver's seat and you confront the problem with help. That's what we're really offering, is help for you to structure the way you actually want to go forward.
Hmm. Yeah, incredible. The way you're explaining it sounds so logical and so simple, yet it's, people just don't take this route often enough, I think. So who are your clients, and what specifically are they coming to you for? And why should clients work with Venn mediation?
Well, I would say that almost anyone could be our client. We like to say that anyone struggling to reach an agreement or resolve a disagreement that's costing them time, money, or peace of mind could benefit from mediation. And as far as I'm concerned, that's almost everyone.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of different types of conflicts that we do. We work on family and personal disputes like divorce, prenups, couples issues, elder care. A lot of our parents are aging, and it can be difficult between siblings to figure out how do you want to manage a situation like that. But we also handle business and commercial disputes. So when people are starting a business, helping them write up a partnership agreement, or when a business is breaking up, helping them do, I guess, what's almost like a business divorce. So there's a lot of different very practical elements, practical things that can be mediated. Ehsan, anything I missed?
That was a really great kind of encapsulation. I couldn't have done better. The only thing I would add, I guess, is, as Alnoor said, our clients could come from any walk of life. If I had to distill something that most of them have in common, is that they have the courage to actually come before us, come with us, and hash out this disagreement. They have the courage to confront their problem head on. Because as you said in the beginning, when we avoid problems, they don't always get better, and very often they can get significantly worse. So for all of our clients, I would say they've had the courage to take the steps needed to ask for help to make things better.
Yeah, such a good point. This is a voluntary process that they've both engaged in to find a amicable solution that works for both. And another thing you said that I think is so important is that they're involved in the process. And when you put them in the driver's seat, they're involved in the process. There's a sense of accomplishment and pride in getting to that point, not someone gave me a judgment that I have to do this. Maybe they come to the same end outcome, but because they got there, completely different story to how that rolls out, right?
Yeah, I would say that the actual conclusion of the matter could be in a number of different directions, right? And because the parties actually have to agree to the solution, it can actually be significantly more collaborative, and it can be structured differently and actually create value, as Alnoor said. Alnoor, I think you said it better. Would you mind amplifying my answer?
No, I think you did great. And I'm glad you mentioned collaborate, because one of the things that we confront a lot in mediation is a lot of people come into these things thinking they should compromise. And compromise is a great word. But in a lot of situations, compromise means that each person has to give something up to get to an outcome. We like to work in the collaboration space, which is where both sides can hopefully gain something, and we can actually walk away with those win-win outcomes.
I love that. I happen to love that word as well. It's powerful. And, sorry, collaboration in a successful environment is so powerful. Imagine, you don't have to imagine because you do it for a living, but in a dispute resolution, having collaboration is I can see it being so effective. So what would you say are the top, let's say, 3 most frequently asked questions that you get?
It's a difficult one because we get a lot of different questions. I would say the first one, which we've already touched on, is, why would I involve a neutral in my dispute? Why would I bring in a third party and cede control? And as we've already said, you keep a lot of the control. You keep more of the control than you would in a courtroom or in an arbitration hall. And you maintain the ability to find and dictate your own solutions. Our job is here as your navigators. You stay in the driver's seat.
Yeah, Ehsan is so right that it can just be so helpful when we're emotionally invested in an issue or a dispute. It can sometimes be hard to look at things a bit more objectively. But as mediators, we have that power, if I may use that word. and that's how we help our clients. The second question I would say that we get a lot of, which we touched upon a bit already, is, what should we do? And as we've alluded to already, we don't tell our clients what to do, because ultimately they're the ones that have to live their outcomes. So we want them coming up with those things on their own. If I can add a third one, then basically, on a few occasions, we've been happy to hear a question of, can you do all of our mediations? And the answer is yes, we can.
Sure. I can see that being okay. We found a solution in this, personal problem we had. I can see that finding value in that to use that method and mediation process for any dispute that needs to be resolved. So I think that's a fair question, and good to know that that people have that solution. So you started right as the pandemic hit. You needed to have an online presence quickly, efficiently, and you came to Style Labs. So tell us about what that experience was like for you, and sort of where that's taken you now.
Yeah, happy to. Very lucky. We actually spoke with the CEO, Almin, personally. I'm not sure everyone gets that kind of treatment, but we were lucky enough to work with him directly, and also his very accomplished team. I've never set up a website before. I don't think Ehsan had either. They really walked us through the process. There was kind of a great questionnaire that we had to fill out that helped us really put things into perspective for us, so that the website developers were able to create what I think is an absolutely gorgeous website that everyone who visits loves. So we hope people go there more often, which was great. And I'll also just mention that one of the best things about Style Labs is that the software is so intuitive. People like ourselves can do all the updates ourselves, which has been a really great thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I love to hear that. And, we talked about collaboration, and this is how we like to have our clients have a sense of collaboration as well. We can do everything for you, or you have the option to be able to manage some of this yourself. And you, having just said you didn't know how to build a website, didn't know anything about it, yet here you are able to, keep the machine running and update certain things on your own. So I love hearing that you guys have tackled that, and you're actually doing it, and it shows. We will include your website at the bottom, or at the end of the interview. So it is an absolutely beautiful website. You can see the journey that it takes people through to see exactly what you do, why to work with Ben, and how how effective it has been for you. So we're really excited that your website and your digital ecosystem is working so well for you.
Thank you.
So one of my favorite things to do, other than talk business, is, because I get to meet so many interesting people, I like to know a little bit more about you. So Alnoor, why don't you start? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your background?
Yeah, happy to. Thank you. So although I live in New York City, I am a Canadian born and raised, born in Edmonton, no hate from Calgary, please, and then grew up in Ottawa, and studied mathematics at Queen's University. And then I did a complete 180 and got into international relations and became a Canadian diplomat. So I did that for about 10 years, got to travel all over the world to over 50 different countries, and really got a sense of, cultural, ethnic, and religious differences, which I think has served me so well in the mediation field, which is amazing. I had diplomatic postings in Afghanistan and Bangladesh, and did some really interesting work on human rights issues, disaster response, and international security. Then I decided to go back to school. So I took a year off and studied at the Harvard Kennedy School in Boston. And that's actually where I discovered the world of mediation and conflict resolution in a class on negotiation. And I recall coming home from a 12-hour day completely exhausted, but so energized by this new thing that I have discovered that people get paid to do. And I recall Googling mediation and just wanting to learn so much about it into the wee hours of the morning, and then just passing out from sheer exhaustion. So, after graduation, I moved to New York, and I got married, and I met Ehsan, and I started mediating, and I decided that this is what I really wanted to do. And here I am.
Wow, incredible. What a journey. And you can see the thread of how you ended up realizing your passion being in mediation with all of that experience. There's a million different directions you could have gone on, but you can certainly see, you know, how your experience and skill set led you to where you are now. So, Ehsan, how about yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, it's a hard act to follow, but I'll give it a shot. I'm an American, Pennsylvanian, not born. I was born in Scotland, but we came here when I was very young. Raised for the most part in the hills of Pennsylvania. Then went to Washington, D.C. for college, where I studied communications law, economics, government, and philosophy. And then I came to New York, to Columbia for law school. After graduating there, I went to an international law firm specializing in, where I specialized, I should say, in complex commercial litigation, internal investigations, but the main thing was national and international arbitration, handling several matters in the multi-million dollar to upwards of billion-dollar ranges, in multi-state practice and interstate practice. You know, Germany, France, this kind of thing. And upon leaving there, I started working with sort of startups in the New York area, particularly in the entertainment business, in sort of an outside general counsel role. I found mediation because it felt like an extension. It felt like the middle ground between the arbitration work I had done in the law firm and the negotiation work I was doing a lot of. I said, what's this middle ground? And like Alnoor, you know, I didn't pass out researching it, but it was a similar level of intensity. And, you know, started mediating, met Alnoor, and the rest was kismet.
Wow. Incredible. And yeah, not impressive at all, Ehsan, not impressive at all. So I have a question for you. Which one of you is the president of the Overachievers Club?
Him, for sure.
I think Ehsan's
No
the president of the Humility Club.
Oh my God, it's so incredible. And you know, I love smart people, but smart people aren't always adaptable and driven and sort of able to create such an interesting path and follow their passions. So very, very interesting. So thank you for sharing a small bit of, you know, I'd love to have you both back on for an entire hour and just talk about your experience. So with all of that and everything you've accomplished, and you have shifted gears, and you know, you changed mid-course and you went back to school and you moved across the world and all of that, what advice would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur with big ideas, big dreams, you know, the thought of doing things differently?
Yeah, no, great question. I mean, two things come to mind for me, if I can go first. One of them is I would say, I mean, never feel stuck. You know, when I was growing up, they always told us that we changed careers so many times, and I didn't think I would, but I'm already on number 5 at last count. So, you know, and you can kind of do something for a long time and feel that's a great fit for you, but there's so much potential in the world now, and you know, just so many pathways. So I would start by saying, never feel stuck. If you really want to do something, you know, there's always a way to do it. Which my second thing is if you're really passionate about something and you really believe in it, it doesn't have to feel like work. And that's what I love about mediation is I feel like I could do it all day because I just enjoy it so much.
Mm-hmm. Lucky for us, lucky for everyone else. And what about yourself, Ehsan?
Oh, I would say it's kind of the other side of that coin, but don't give up. You're going to face innumerable hurdles, and you're going to get a lot of advice that says, you know, you should go down the paved road. But, you know, there's a saying that a paved road is nice to walk on, but there are no flowers on it. So you're going to face a number of hurdles and a lot of difficulty, and it can be really worth it, because if you are really committed to what you're doing and you do love what you do, you know, you can get through it, and you can find success even when, you know, even in moments where things seem dark.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Incredible. Favorite thing I heard for the entire week: the paved road is nice to walk on, but there's no flowers on it. I absolutely love that. So I'm glad that you noted that. It's it's so very true. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up. That is right on time when we like to finish these. So thank you so much for sharing your insights, sharing your success, sharing what you do. And it is incredibly important for people to know that there is this solution, that a mediation solution can often be the path that people are not aware of, and that it can lead them to where they need to go. So lastly, before we go, where can people find you and your beautiful website?
So we're all over the internet. Our website is www.venmediation.com. That's 2 N's. We post a lot of content online about how to manage conflict, how we work, a lot of useful things. So we're on LinkedIn, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. So find us on any of these platforms or visit our website. We really make these tough conversations easier, and we'd love to help.
Well said.
Wonderful. Well, I, for one, am a fan, and I'm so happy you guys joined us today. And you're on all those platforms. You're very active on all those platforms. Just another thing you guys have, because you have so much time on your hands. You guys are incredible. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see everybody next time. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.